When the average farmer has grown his crops, he sleeps soundly in his bed. Not so the cultivators in India's jungle tribes. Having produced their crops, these men have to sleep over them, to guard them from the surrounding wild, which is ever jealous of what mankind has taken from it, ever seeking to retake, for that's the law of the jungle. These forest cultivators have to guard their crops from the depredations of wild pig, blue bull, other marauding animals. For many weeks of the year, this nightly vigil is universal in forest-surrounded areas. Having done sentry all night, this cultivator prepares to go home to his day's work. All these people are good hunters. This man finds in his crops a young nilgai which has fallen to his bow. Arrow is poisoned. Dinner for the village will balance accounts. Meet this typical Gond with his constant companions, the spear and axe, man's very first tools. What else does he carry? You'd think he hadn't any pockets. Now watch him empty his one big pocket from the loincloth. If you are curious to know exactly what primitive man finds useful in the jungle, well, here you are. From left to right, opium, which keeps him going and acts as a medicine, money wrapped in cloth, thorn tweezers, silver toothpick, ear scope, for his hearing must be good in the jungle, a spent bullet taken from a tiger as a charm, an amulet against the evil eye, and his pipe. Up they go towards the sky, quicker than you walk upstairs. What are they looking for? Edible fruit, found on many forest trees. Nobody gets up a tree like a Gond or a bhil. Very useful if there's an angry tiger or a bear underneath, as there often is in the jungle. When the harvest fails, they just climb about like monkeys. No, not gardening, digging up edible roots. These folks know just which are edible and which are not, and if you don't know, better give these delicacies a miss. Here's a useful trick. This bhil wants to smoke, so he's going to produce fire from these two little bamboo sticks. Round and round and round they go. Tinder dry, and they get hotter and hotter. It doesn't do to get tired at this little game. Better than yo-yo. Watch carefully and you'll see the smoke. No use to try and sell him matches. Nice quiet smoke from tobacco grown in his own back garden. Looking for a nice fat fish for breakfast. Got him right through the gill. Not so easy because you have to aim in front. The bhils can plant a poisoned arrow in the neck of a small deer or panther. And years ago, deers were not the only victim. These men are practicing because they want to hunt a cattle-lifting panther. See the wooden leg? There's a story behind that, for a tiger mauled him, pulled him out of a low tree. When the tiger or panther cannot find food, he turns to the village cattle. This man's lost one of his calves, following the drag mark from village to jungle. And this fellow's gone up top to see what the neighboring jungle reveals. For the villagers have had enough of this particular panther and want to make it pay for its crime. Here's the calf, half eaten. His friends are down below and he can direct them from above, wiping for the quarry. More evidence. Big panther's pug. Tense moments these, when a cracking twig or a leaf may give you away. But the bhil and the Gond know all about this game, lancing down before they put their feet to Mother Earth. No loose clothes or equipment to rustle or creak. They move as silently as the panther on his path. Ah, got him. The cattle lifter has paid the price. One of the cleverest of big cats is the panther, but always a sneak and sly as Mother Nature could make him. When he turns man-eater, he's the jungle's worst scourge. Now they'll take the panther home to the village, where the hunters will be feasted and probably well rewarded with the smiles of the village maidens, not to mention gifts of forest wine distilled from the Maura flower. Here come two jungle hunters with the elephant. Thick going, but they don't mind. Does it stop the elephant? He says it doesn't. And he does all this through being tickled behind the ears by the mahout toes. Wonderful what a little tickling will do, isn't it? When the mahout says tor, that means break, he removes a little trigger tube, like this. The elephant is crash-proof, for he never goes anywhere downhill unless he knows it's safe, feeling the ground with his sensitive trunk. A little puncture in the balloon tires, no vulcanizing required. The mahout gently removes the splinter from the pad with his teeth, like a mother with her baby, isn't he? When hunting, the forest tribes can carry on all morning with just a drink of water. The tiger they don't fear. Some of these tribes will even go so far as to steal the tiger's dinner when he's out of his pantry. But the bear inspires universal fear in the forest. He's hysterical and may charge you on sight for no reason at all. Tiny tots behind, but don't they just know how to drive those big buffaloes? There's a true story of a grown boy who came home crying because he'd lost his axe, which was found in the skull of a panther. Bullock carts, the universal and indispensable transport of hundreds of millions in Asia. Mr. Ford will never displace the bullock cart from India, for it costs little and can go anywhere. But India's the land of contrasts. Here's a modern American airflow car carrying the expedition and its cameraman through primeval jungle in the central provinces. And that's how we had to get over the sandy patches near the Narbada River, a valley now believed to be the home of the oldest known civilization, older than the Indus Valley civilization, which predates the pharaohs. Another little problem for the expedition, crossing the mighty Narbada on a ferry boat. The first time a baby show had ever been held in this little village in the CP forest. Forest officer and his wife with a friend set out to find the bonniest kiddie. The nursery is among the trees, and though the kids get plenty of fresh air and sunshine, there's often not much else. And here's the prize-winning mother and her baby, very shy, but very proud. And the prize-winning boy and girl, under 5, very busily engaged eating the prize, off a plate made with leaves sewn up with long thorns. Prizes for the adults, and note the beer bottles are empty. They are valued, for where can you get even empty beer bottles in the jungle? And the sports end with a curious contrast. Visitors listening for the first time in their lives to the expedition's radio set. Preliminaries to a Bhil wedding. The bride is seated on the lap of the groom's father. On the plate is the dowry, 5 rupees or nearly $2. One of the rupees is tied in the bride's sari. Payment in advance for the lady, if you like. Next we have the lap filling ceremony. Coconut, betel and rice, all symbols of marriage fertility. Here's the best man, shoulder high, arriving as bridegroom's ambassador. Custom decrees that he should be mobbed by the bride's lady friends and have his face rubbed with soot. It's not easy to be best man at a Bhil wedding. Oh, treat 'em rough, say the Bhil ladies. Here's the bridegroom. Custom decrees that every day for a fortnight he must be rubbed with turmeric by these women, just to keep him from feeling cold and backing out of it, probably. The bride also has to be rubbed, by ladies, of course. The beals don't go in much for child marriage, and brides are often quite adult, like this one. Powder changes her color from dark brown to a nice yellow. The wedding day. Grooms must be on horseback, all decked out as in a new suit. These ceremonies may seem ludicrous, but they are true to tradition. All good Beal bridegrooms go through with them. The sister walks behind with a jar in which 5 copper coins must be dropped for luck. Here comes the bridegroom's procession, on the same old principle that when the bride is taken away from the village, there must be some show of resentment. The bridegroom has also to be pelted with onions and fruit by the bride's family and friends. What a life for the bridegrooms. He thinks it's worth it anyway. Music for the wedding. Here's the actual wedding ceremony, purdah in between. Brahmin priest has to be up a tree watching for the auspicious moment, the traps. And bride and bridegroom are reversed while the curtain is pulled aside. They're held down all right, no escape. This little ceremony that follows is invented so that bride and bridegroom can get acquainted and not feel bashful. No, they're not kissing. They must bite betel leaf and pieces of coconut from each other's mouths. You try it. Quite a good game in the dark. Another Beal custom. What about playing this in the dark? They have to find coins hidden in each other's clothes. Oh, Mother Eve, what could poor Adam do about that? A good excuse for holding hands. Grabbing a rupee thrown into a bowl of water. All these details are part of the Orthodox ceremony. This ceremony occurs the morning after the night of the bridegroom and is the night of the honeymoon, and is called the public bathing. Helps to bring them back to cold realities. Meanwhile, the relations dance a bit. The public slapping ceremony follows, when the bride and the bridegroom slap each other after the bathing, in case they are still shy. Slappery business, what? Among the Beals, wedding dances vary a great deal, but everyone dances. In one tribe, the wedding dance has to be gone through with bride and bridegroom shoulder high. No ballroom floor either. No use being uncertain about your steps, or you may become unpopular if you drop the bride. Beals love dancing, and in these wedding dances they find expression for a good deal of innocent amusement. This shakes the bride up a bit, probably, but the course of true love never runs smooth anyway, and she'll have to get used to a few jolts like this in marriage. These hunters have been out waylaying a sounder of wild boar, 2 of which they've brought to the dinner. Dance marathon fans might try this with a wild boar on the shoulder. $2 the day, plus drinks, of course. The women join in as well as the men, and you are no sort of dancer unless you go on all night. All done with the naked feet, of course, and jolly fine for the liver. The spectators love it, and there are frequent lulls for drinks. A Beal only wants a Maura tree, 2 bamboo sticks, a pot, fire and water, and he will distill you the most fiery liquor ever invented. All illicit, that's what makes it taste so good. And don't they need refreshments? You want lungs like Mae West's for this sort of work? And fingers like a tap dancer's feet to play this dole. Just over a century ago, the Bhils were the desperadoes and marauding bandits of Khandesh, where there was little law and order. Gangs flourished, and conditions were somewhat like those beyond the northwest frontier today. Then came that romantic figure, General Outram, who, as a lieutenant, and while almost a youth, built up the Khandesh Bhil Corps, licked them into shape, became their friend and counselor, and completely pacified the country. Some of his sayings, such as, "What do I care for the clawing of a cat," when he was pulled from underneath a panther by Bhil friends, have now become proverbs in Khandesh. His prowess in shikar, in fact, endeared him to all Bhils, and Outram, at the age of 22, probably established a record for all time when he on foot speared a tiger, which had to be finished off, however, by a friend with a rifle. As Simcox says in his volume, The Khandesh Bhil Corps, Outram did this by the example of one fearless gentleman who bore the heat with the hardiest, faced the tiger with the boldest, sympathized with the most miserable and depraved, and held out the hand of love. Here you have the heart of the Khandesh Bhil country, bordering the Bombay presidency and the central provinces. Wives are the water carriers of eastern villages, and while they queue up at the well, a little gossip doesn't come amiss. This Bhil wife can carry 2 or 3 pots of water on her head and a baby on her hip at the same time if she likes. Try this, and you will know why Indian village women walk with a carriage the whole world admires. He's dropped a cloth. That doesn't matter. Toes are as good as fingers anyway. This couple are fishing. Fishing nets? Oh no. Lady unwraps half her sari, dragged through the water. She has to be careful, of course. Typical domestic scene. Mother milling corn with one hand and rocking her baby with the other. The women are adepts at doing 2 or 3 things at once. Most ladies are. Our Bhils actually have no marriage ceremony at all. Here's companionate marriage. A couple go off into the jungle returning to announce their marriage. This wife tears off a piece of sari and gives it to her husband as a sign she's finished with him. 3 strikings, divorce. When the husband divorces the wife, he publicly tears off the end of his turban and gives it to her. So we leave these forest children, sturdy, simple, loyal, likable. May they continue uncorrupted by our civilization.